Yeah, I mean, I like to see all my homies, succeed.
Everybody
So
eat. Yeah, exactly.
I'll, I mean, I'll talk shit. I'll talk shit about Afotey, doing his cinematography instead of putting out Detox. But I mean, I love to see him. Place.
Back for the first time, geek enthusiasts and lovers of the plastic crack. This is your safe space, free from safety. So put your hands on some plastic. It's time for toy detox.
I was driving. I look over to my left. There's a couple girls in a Jeep. And I have my windows up, but I just say, "What's up, sluts?" And then, my buddy starts laughing because it was just completely random. And then the girl in the Jeep next to me, rolls down her window and then, tells me to roll down my window. And I was like, "Yeah?" And she's like, "Did you just say fucking sluts?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Well, I didn't fucking lie."
True. You do tell the truth. That's savage.
What's up, guys?
I got that shit from Jay and Silent Bob in Clerks. Remember when fucking
Oh, yeah.
Jason Mewes is outside? He goes, "What's up, sluts?"
That's right.
That's probably
Hey,
that's probably where I got it from, subconsciously.
You won't believe what I just fucking finished watching, dude.
This sounds like clickbait.
Dude, remember that show Werewolf?
Werewolf.
Yeah, man. In the 80s, there was this show called fucking Werewolf.
Honestly, don't remember that.
Scorzani. That name doesn't sound familiar to you at all?
Scorzani sounds familiar.
Yeah. Okay, so in the 80s.
But I don't remember that show.
There was a show called Werewolf. And what happened is, it's about, remember the guy had like a pentagram in his hand that kept bleeding to let him know when it was going to happen?
Yo, this sounds mad familiar. This sounds mad familiar right now.
I'm sure you remember it. Trust me, it's in the back of your mind. You couldn't have missed it. Especially if it was motherfuckers like me that was so into the occult.
You know what I'm probably thinking of? I'm probably thinking of Manimal. Remember Manimal?
Yes. Let me turn off my television because it sounds fuck.
Damn, see, now you're going to make me look that up. Where did you watch it? Oh, he's turning off his TV. Yeah, I'm curious as to where you can watch such a show right now. Probably on YouTube. Everything's on YouTube.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm sorry about that. That show is a lot like the Incredible Hulk, where the dude's trying to find the guy who he's going from town to town, trying to find the werewolf that made him so he can undo the curse, right? So he can kill him.
That sounds very interesting. That sounds like something that I would be into, actually.
It would be hard for you to watch now, though, because it's like the graphics is so bad. And I'm not talking about like computer graphics. I'm talking about remember shows like War of the Worlds from the 80s?
Yes.
The recording is it's like below SD.
Oh, damn.
You know what I mean?
Like
below
480p.
Yeah, when I'm looking at it, it looks like really bad videotape recording.
Where did you see it? Where did you watch it?
YouTube of all places, man.
Yep. See, that's what I thought. Yeah, YouTube.
Is it like Howling bad? Were like
Well,
the stop motion like practical effects, or
actually, it's pretty good for a television show. I mean, you'll understand for budgets. It's one of those shows that showed up in Fox, kind of like what would have happened to the X-Files if the X-Files didn't become popular. If you think about it, the X-Files was kind of like, you know what I mean?
yeah. Hey, y'all remember Roar on Fox?
Yes.
I remember that.
That was what's his name? Heath Ledger's like introduction to the world.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that fantasy, yeah.
Oh,
Sword and
damn.
Sandal show.
Yeah, like no, I mean, and they like tied it into like some biblical shit because like one of the guys was like Pontius Pilate, and he was like cursed to live forever.
Just like that movie, The Seventh Sign.
Mm-hmm. Damn, you
Man.
guys are reminiscing right now.
What's that?
I said you guys got me reminiscing right now.
Oh man, I just binged the fuck out of Gargoyles on Disney Plus.
That was such a good cartoon.
Dude, it was, and I mean, think about it. It came out at the same time as Batman the Animated Series, shit like that. Like, that to me was probably the golden age of like after school cartoons.
What I want to know is why it failed, because it was good. Why was the rating so bad?
I mean, because like I didn't even know about the third season that is called the Goliath Chronicles. And honestly, it feels like watching it after finishing the second season. Dude, the second season was 52 episodes.
Damn.
Like a whole anime run for the second season.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 52 episodes.
And I mean, and honestly, it feels like the third season, the Goliath Chronicles, is like kind of tacked on. Because at the end of the second season, everything wrapped up really nice and neat. Like they had their they're back at the castle, and Xanatos was playing nice with them and all that. And third season is super. It seems like super political. Because like the first episode, an anti-gargoyle group, basically like the KKK. Like they're called the Quarry Masters. They wear like purple hoods, and then they carry around like these like electro hammers, and they're like fuck the gargoyles and fuck anybody who likes them, like but man, that show was the Star Trek The Next Generation retirement home too, because like everybody was on that show. Like Jonathan Frakes was Xanatos, obviously. And Marina Sirtis was Demona, but like Brent Spiner had a recurring role in there. Like what's his name? Michael Dorn, the guy who played Worf. Like he had a recurring role in there. He actually voiced two characters, which like I completely forgot. But like, damn that. Okay, like that was, and it's so funny because I probably saw each episode only once when I was a kid, and I remembered 95% of the episodes. Like it was crazy. Like I was like when I read the summary on Disney Plus, I was like, oh shit, I remember this. Like,
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
How old are you again, Spiros? I'm just trying to put things in perspective because I was in Japan and I'm 42 now.
I'm 39.
Okay.
So,
Because Gargoyles came out when I was like 15 or 16.
yeah,
And as much as I would have watched it if it had existed in cable in Japan, I was sad to say that I completely missed out on it. So.
dude, and was it? Jordan Peele has expressed interest in doing a live action Gargoyles.
Yeah, that was a thing last year, I think, right?
Yeah, and then I just read an article the other day that the writer of the cartoon was like, yeah, if he still wants to do it, if we can get Disney to fucking, get off their thumb, because I don't know, like it took a petition to get it on Disney Plus. Like I don't understand why Disney is so scared of the Gargoyles, because like it probably, I mean, I don't know what the ratings were like, but I know it's probably the second most popular Disney cartoon series behind DuckTales. I mean, DuckTales got a remake.
Yeah, I would think outside of I think you're right. Like outside of the like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and stuff like that, like for small tiny kids, right? Because those are like ridiculously popular. But yeah, you're right, bro. Outside of all of that, I would think that you are 100% correct because
Okay.
Gargoyle. Yeah.
What I do remember about that show was that there was a standalone movie that I saw.
I never saw the movie. Yeah, I never saw the movie.
Which is basically what the pilot episode it was like the first 3 or something episodes, it turns out.
Oh, okay. So it was Reawakening like 1 through 4, 1 through 3, whatever it was.
Right, but here's what threw me off in the movie and versus the show. The movie didn't have the eggs, so they didn't talk about like the future of Gargoyle. So when I saw some of the episodes of rewatching the singular episodes talking about the eggs and the future of the Gargoyle people, I was like, why the hell did they not include this in the gosh damn movie?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a pretty big plot point.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's kind of like, have you guys ever seen that movie Kingdom of Heaven?
Yeah.
Kingdom of Heaven. What is
the Ridley Scott film?
Jeremy Irons.
Oh no, I never saw that. Unfortunately.
Man, I hope you get a chance to watch it, but don't watch the theatrical version, because that version is garbage.
Is it really?
Yes, over the director's cut or the elongated cut, because kind of like what Spiro says with Gargoyles, when I was watching Gargoyles, I was like, okay, well, this one isn't really that spectacular. But then I watched the show, which is the same thing except with the eggs. It's like, why the hell did they? A lot of things hella started to make more sense with the with the eggs and stuff involved. Same thing with Kingdom of Heaven in the director's cut. They completely cut out in the theatrical version the plot point where the queen had a child. They took that into, and not only that.
Really?
Yes, and not only that, they forgot to mention in the original. Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what else is a big deal. They forgot to mention that that the main character is a fucking siege engineer. They did it in the director's cut. So like when you're watching the original theatrical release, you're like going, how the fuck does this blacksmith just happen to know how to fucking do all of this shit? You know what I mean? They just made him OP. You know what I mean? Kind of like that. And then when you watch the director's cut, you're like, oh my gosh, this changes everything. Now I see why he's so dope, because he's a fucking siege engine artist or engineer. He knows how to
the siege, the Snyder cut basically of Gargoyles.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, but like the one thing I'm surprised at is Patrick Stewart didn't voice anyone in the Gargoyles series.
Let me ask you this: do you think that Tony Todd voiced anything in that series too?
Tony Todd.
They already had one black guy with a deep voice. You can't get two.
I mean, they had two black dudes.
Yeah, that Keith David.
Oh, Keith David
and Michael Dorn. Like
so yeah, even less reason for them to have any more.
The reason I brought it up is because Worf's brother's name is Kern, played by Tony Todd, and usually they have a voice too.
he might have. I mean, who knows? Like, because I was surprised by a lot of the people who came up in the IMDb. But dude, like Brent Spiner, the guy who played Data,
Yeah.
like that
He's got
is
a huge backlog. Like he's been in a lot of shit.
yeah. I mean, but like that, like after watching that, that was probably one of his best performances outside of Star Trek. Like, I mean, dude's been in a lot. Like he was in
ID4.
He was in Independence Day. He was in Phenomenon with John Travolta. That was a good cheesy movie.
It was.
And it had a good soundtrack. Like Eric Clapton.
Mm-hmm. Was he was the Archangel Michael or something like that, right?
No.
Michael was his own Travolta movie.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah, that was.
I'm thinking of something else. Oh, my bad. Okay.
Nah, Phenomenon was.
The alien one.
No. He was like a simple farmer guy, and he saw a light, and then he like became super smart.
Mm-hmm.
Like he came up with fertilizer for crops. He learned like he learned like Spanish in 30 minutes or some shit, and then it turned out like it was a brain tumor that one of the side effects was you see like flashes of light.
Genius.
So I mean that was a good movie. You know what?
Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it.
If you haven't seen that 35-year-old movie, or not 35, 30 some odd movie. But dude, there's a radio station that plays what's now considered oldies, which is basically like 80 songs. And dude, I fucking love the 80s. Like the music from back then.
Oh yeah.
Just like so much shit that you can just vibe to, and like.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what still fucking slaps to this day. The bass line from Madonna's "Like a Prayer." Like
yeah, it does.
When it gets heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, this is true. This is a very true statement.
Yeah.
Man, it's funny you should mention Madonna. I love Somber Madonna. Somber Madonna is my favorite. I can listen to that all day.
Somber
Like,
Madonna.
Live to Tell. Live to Tell is my favorite song ever, dude. Gives me right in the feels.
I was a fan of Slutty Madonna.
La Isla Bonita?
Yeah, erotica, stuff like that. That was my Madonna, my favorite.
The pushing the envelope Madonna.
Yeah, that was the kind of Madonna I liked.
The video can't be played until after 11 Madonna.
Yeah, that one. Although you makes a good point, because Somber Madonna was a little more sonically gifted, I guess you could say. I don't know if I want to use that word, but she had more range. She exercised more range around that time.
Somebody playing spoons or typing on a computer?
Oh, sorry, I'm Darksiders 3 at the same time.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
That explains it.
There
no,
we
but
go.
the reason why I love early Madonna stuff, or at least mid 80s to the earlier Madonna stuff, is because the production, the beats were just, for me, so it definitely felt so 80s. I loved it. Like, for example, Get Into the Groove. You ain't gonna hear that kind of production no more, you know what I mean? Or even Live to Tell, and
yeah. Get into the groove.
Yeah. The production on that is just like dope, The
guitar was sick on that. Yeah. Mhm.
And what's that? Oh my gosh. Lucky Star.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
Vacation.
that was fire. I love Lucky Star. That was, oh man, that was one of
Isn't
my favorite Madonna songs.
Oh yeah.
isn't Lucky Star the song in Snatch that Bulletproof Tony listens to?
It's been a while since I watched it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. Starlight, star bright. Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid. At first, when I was a kid, I didn't really appreciate that shit. I just said, "Man, this is what shit my sister listened to, right?" Then I get older and I hear it with adult ears, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Shit was dope."
Yeah, it was fire. It was. It really was. You don't realize it until you're a little bit older. You can appreciate it. Yeah, like you said. Yeah, that's true. That's fact.
I've been accused of being homo at the age of 20 and above when I realized that Jem's the soundtrack for the holograms was actually pretty dope too.
Oh man, I adapted and unironically will praise Gem. I love that cartoon. Like I liked the actual cartoon itself. Like
I mean, I get it now, but at the time when I was a kid, I didn't. To me, it was just too adult, and I was just like, I don't give a crap about this shit. Relationships, like, what the fuck? Give me some more dinosaurs or some shit.
yeah.
And I get older, and you're like, oh shit, this drama was actually pretty dope.
Word. It's funny how that works.
So what is okay? Now that you brought it up, Spiros, what is your favorite? What would you say is your favorite like soundtrack from that era, as far as like cartoons and shows and shit? Then.
Oh shit. Cartoon soundtrack?
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
There's a lot of good ones out there, and I don't believe you that you know. But off the top of my head, the top one for me is easily Kid Video.
I'm trying to think of what that is. Kid
Remember?
Video.
From my video to my
radio.
Yeah, remember?
Yes. Okay, I remember that.
That
Yeah,
fucking intro is
yeah.
something else, dude. It's 80s hard hit. Dun, 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 dun.
What was my favorite from that era? I want to say, and this is probably cheating, but I really loved. Well, it's called Robotech at the time, right? But Macross, like the theme song for that. I used to sing that all the time when I was little. Like I used to legit sing that shit. Dun, 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 dun. Like that was
I
my
love
shit.
it. It's pretty epic.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, man. 80s soundtrack. I mean, it's gonna be like expected, but just like the background music to the Transformers, like dun 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 dun.
That's my favorite fucking one.
Yeah, that was pretty good too. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
With
Oh
the
man.
flute. Yeah.
Oh man, my Facebook memory today, it was me sharing it's the scene where Megatron's shooting Ironhide in the head from the 86 movie.
Yeah.
And the caption that I had written was, "This is when I knew shit got real." Like
I know, you can't.
Yeah.
I was in denial.
I almost shared it today, and I wanted to say Flint Dill raped my childhood. He's the main writer on the 86 movie.
Oh my gosh! Is he your friend on Facebook?
No. I mean,
he added me as a friend in Facebook when Facebook first fucking came out a long time ago.
Oh no shit.
Yes, I think you and him, Afotey and him would be butting heads all the time because that dude is an ardent conservative man. I had to block that fool or unfollow that fool because I was like, dude, his conservative Republican ways was just too much, man. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I don't mind a little bit of it, but dude, that dude is obnoxious.
Yeah. I actually, funny enough, like a lot of I'm very conservative, I guess, financially, but socially I'm liberal, right?
Yes.
So, you know. So I
I
guess,
take a similar approach.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but a lot of my family is actually conservative, which is interesting. But um, yeah, I would like to. I would definitely like. See, I'm trying to think of whatever '80s cartoon really moved me in terms of a soundtrack.
Pole
Like, what
position.
was the first thing that came to my mind, to be honest with you? But I'm trying to think of something else. I like the Humanoids. I like the theme
Oh
song for the
yeah,
Humanoids.
that show is so underrated. Underrated.
The evil that lies within.
Yeah. Especially when fucking like Decompose would go. And Matt Larn is gargling fucking voice.
Yeah, word.
And then Groot, evil Groot, walking.
Mhm.
Oh no, it's like Tendril.
That was such a good show. A
Hell
lot
yeah,
of
I mean, I love that
shows
show.
back in the day, they were so good, man.
I'm just sad that it these one of those shows that just didn't make it. You know, they didn't have enough ratings, even though I think conceptually it was a fucking dope concept.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things back in the day in the 80s that were hella dope concepts that I wish translated now. Like, for example, remember that show Friday the 13th, the series?
I remember that.
Oh yeah,
That-
the one with the curio shop, and
Right.
like every story started with like, you know, some obscure item in the shop.
Right. It's basically
Yeah.
and it's basically Annabelle or
It's like
or
Monster of the Week type thing.
it's what's that show? I mean that movie. It's basically The Conjuring. Those same you know how the couple in The Conjuring, like take all them cursed items and put them in a gosh damn family vault.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's the same exact thing with Friday the 13th, where
Essentially, yeah.
I believe what happened was their uncle, the guy who owned the show, the store originally, made a deal with the devil so that he could live long and prosper
Mhm.
by selling all sorts of cursed artifacts to the
Oh
people.
man.
Yeah.
And
Really dark. Really dark.
yeah, very dark shit.
Yeah, and dude, the theme music to that, like it had yeah, it had like a wind chime kind of sound, like,
Yes.
and almost the same exact sound was in an REM song on what is it, like it's the same CD as like The End of the World. It's The End of the World as we know it. And like every time I heard that fucking little sound in that song,
You always thought of it, right?
I was like, oh, I gotta fucking skip to the next song, like, cause this is when CDs like first came out, you know.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I gotta fucking skip to the next song. That's fucking, you know, it's giving me bad vibes.
Man,
Bad Mojo.
I actually picked up the entire series on DVD, and I'm pretty happy that I did.
Oh, word! Wow,
Uh-huh.
nice.
The only one, not the one that I wish that I got next on DVD, but it eludes me at the moment, was I think it's called The Hunger, where it's basically like HBO Twilight Zone kind of shit.
The Hunger. That sounds familiar too.
There was this one really crazy episode, right, where Jason Scott Lee is this awesome fucking chef, right? And some rich people asked him, you know, to go to one of their like escape places, a retreat, so that he could learn how to cook something from an ancient manuscript from China or whatever from back in the day and shit. His curiosity gets the better of him, and he goes there, and as he reads it, it turns out it's how to cook a person like properly to get the most delicious flavor there ever was. Something like to that effect. And I was just
How to
like, oh
serve.
my gosh, yeah, this is such a fucked up episode, and it involves killing somebody at the point of orgasm, and then
Wow.
preparing. Yeah, because that's when everything tastes the absolute best or some shit. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah, but that was a pretty dope show.
That's crazy.
But of
Sounds like
course,
something
yes, I know you would. I was surprised that you haven't already seen it yet.
like fucked up shit like that. Like what?
Yeah, dude. When I was a kid, man, I was all about. I don't know what the hell it was about me, dude. I think for me, I knew I was odd, man. While every other Filipino wanted to do like gangster shit. I was a motherfucker going to the public library researching werewolves, vampires, demons, and shit. I knew I was odd because I was like, fuck, why am I the only guy obsessed with this shit while everybody else is talking about, the Lakers, fucking chicks and cars.
You were a cool kid. That's what it was. You were destined to be cool your whole entire life. Essentially, is what happened.
You were ahead. You were ahead of your time.
Hmm. Exactly.
I wish that for me it's just a bunch of stuff that I'm glad that people like you and others like my friends appreciate.
I think we all kind of found each other, sort of, all as nerds.
I was always so happy when I found somebody who was more odd or weird than me, because it challenged my depth of oddity. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I don't know whether to respect it or be glad that I wasn't as as odd.
Mm.
But like for example,
same way.
like you ever get invited, like I imagine that you guys are like normal people, right? With normal friends and shit. And when you guys were younger, somebody invited you to play Vampire the Masquerade, and you're like, wait, what? What is this shit? And yeah, that's what happened to me. I remember going to a room, and these guys took that shit so seriously. Like they had that whole goth theme going on in the room with candles and shit.
Shit, I had a goth phase for a little while.
Oh no, I wasn't making fun of it. I was just so impressed by
No, I know you weren't. I was
yeah.
just saying, yeah, I know you weren't. I'm just saying I had one, and it's like, I was the only, like, I grew up in the hood, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I don't know if you know, but not as many black people do goth.
Right?
So,
Like,
you know what I mean?
I've never heard of a black goth. So like,
I was like I was weird, man. I was always like, you know what I mean, an outcast for a very long time. And I'll be honest, like for a while, it kind of well, put it this way, for the first 2 years of high school, I was in a mixed school, basically, where it's just like white people and black kids. It was an all male school. It was a Benedictine academy, so we were taught by monks and stuff like this. And yeah, like seriously, monks in Newark, right? Like yeah, and so it was a mixed crowd. So I was kind of accepted there, you know what I mean, because there were other kids who were into that shit, you know what I mean. But the second half, if you will, of my high school life was in like a straight up like hood, Joe Clark, like East Side High type, you know what I mean? Like people pushing, yeah, like there's drugs in the classroom type shit, bringing in drugs, like straight up. So, and then here's this, weird ass dude, African guy with like funny ass name, like who wears black eyeliner and like big ass cargo pants. You know what I mean?
There's this fucking Bluff.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what? You know why I felt sorry for the black kids in my school? Because I knew that they wanted to do that and be that, but couldn't because none of the other black kids would ever give
Oh
them a
man,
chance.
brutal.
They would be clowned all day by the
Yeah,
other
it was brutal,
brothers
man.
of black
I
kids
ain't
at
gonna lie.
school.
It was very brutal. Like I used to get, I would get into fights all the time because people just, people were mean or idiots. You know what I mean? So, but then eventually, I just kind of just like embraced it and just leaned into it instead of trying to hide it. And eventually, I became one of the most popular people in my school, actually. So it kind of worked out for itself. But yeah, man, for a while it was kind of bad. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You cannot be the brother that deviates at all in the school that I was at, because the kids where I was at was brutal. You would never hear the end of it. Like I'll never forget it. This one brother in school happened to have, I don't know what condition this is, but he was a pretty tall, buff dude, but he had like flappy boobs, for you know what I mean, flappy.
Man,
I don't know
boobs.
what, yeah, whatever. And dude, none of the other brothers would let that go, even though he
Mm,
could beat everybody. They were all just, if you were a mutant or something wrong with you, they'll never, they'll pick on that shit for the whole the whole the whole school year through. And I felt
yeah.
sorry for that dude. And not only that, because he was the type of guy who drew like Rob Liefeld too. Like I
Oh
would see,
wow.
yeah. So I could tell that brother was definitely different from all the others, because he was the only guy who still had a cameo haircut while trying, you know.
I had one of those. I had
And
one of those. I had damn near every hairstyle known to black man, like Gumby, cameo, like Jerry curl. I had them all, bro. I had them all. Dreadlocks, like I had all that shit.
and he was the dude that was still wearing tight 80s pants while the 90 well everybody in the 90s were making the transition to baggy. So yeah, I felt bad for that brother, dude. I was like, oh no, this guy who's getting it all day
That's
from.
terrible.
Yeah. It's a
Man.
good thing he was big and he could probably beat people up, because it didn't happen as often as. I feel like I can imagine it would have been worse if that dude was regular
It's
size.
small. Probably.
So he was trying to be part of the revolution while everyone was trying to go hood.
No, no, it's crazy because he was the only. You could tell that he was different from all the others because he didn't talk like any of the rest of the kids at school. Like
Mm.
he spoke properly,
Uh,
like he didn't talk straight.
oh, my man went there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he didn't talk street at all. Like he talked better than than everybody else in school, you know. And I'm not saying because he was more educated. It's just we all learned the same thing, except he had the discipline to not give a fuck and talk like everybody else. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
he had no care to say the same kind of lingo as we did. Like while everybody was saying that's sick or blood this, cuz that, or whatever, or anything slang, he never said it. Not a bit. And
Yep.
he was so happy in his dude. Me and him got along because me and him would always go to the library and look up at the catalogs to find Warhammer like miniatures and shit on the because those things fascinated me, man. I mean, I never knew how to play none of that shit, but the idea of like an army of space armored knights in the fucking space, me and
Yeah.
him got along on that because we were just talking about, dude, wouldn't that be fucking cool? You know?
You're essentially describing me as a high school student without the man boobs. I was fit. I was evil.
No, the dude
But
was
yeah,
fit, but
that's
it
basically
was
me.
a medical condition. Like it's like he couldn't help it because
Oh, I
I
know
don't
what
know,
you're talking about. I
hormone
forget the name of it.
issue.
It starts with a T. Yeah, it's like it's a name for it. It's like something typoglastia or some shit like this.
Something like that. Yeah, because like you could tell that he worked out because his upper chest, his upper pecs were fucking, defined and shit. But somewhere down, underneath, that's where you're like, whoa, what happened there, man?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the brothers wouldn't let it fly whenever we were playing basketball and it was, shirts off and thing. The little asshole kids would say, look at them titties all day to him, dude. And I'm like, oh man, that's fucked up.
That's fucked up. Yeah, kids are brutal, bro. Kids are brutal, man. Like Spiros, me and you, we have our kids. Well, my daughter is in high school now, she actually is fortunately is not she's not picked on or anything like that. She has friends and she's considered cool and stuff like that. So, but yeah, our youngest kids, and I'm like, you know what I mean, that we have to worry about that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I was gonna ask you, Spiros,
Yeah.
when you buy Legos for yourself, right? Do you end up having to give some of that up to your kids too? Like, did they want you beg and shit? They're like, "Come on, Dad." All right.
No, I mean, usually I take care of them. Like I get them their own sets, and like the stuff like the blind bag minifigures. I'll get them their own stuff like that. So I mean, they might be a little jelly, because I'm fucking around with like the $120 set, and they've got their $25 set. But no, I mean, like my daughter got spoiled the fuck, for her birthday. Like she's got more Lego sets than she knows what to do.
Wow.
But I mean,
it's funny that you use the price of the Razor Crest in this instance.
Oh, is that
$125 set?
okay.
Is that how much a Razor Crest is?
Has that been released? Has that
no,
been released yet? Okay.
That's fall.
Okay. No, but I mean, as far as
is that like a lot for a set of that nature, or no, not really?
It's par for the course.
Yeah, it's a good price just because it's 1,000 and some odd pieces or 1,100 pieces. Yeah. So I mean, it's in that pocket. I mean, it actually might be less because like Lego, Star Wars, Harry Potter, certain other theme lines. They have that license tax is what we call it. Where like a non-licensed Lego set might be 300 pieces for $30. Like the general fan understanding is like 10 cents per piece. Whereas like a 300 piece Star Wars or like Marvel set might be 35 or $40.
Okay.
Just because you're paying that license tax. But get back to the topic about the kids in school. Audrey, she's having a little bit of a rough time. Like, I mean, not now because she's obviously at home with her mom, but more often than not, she's complaining about this person being mean to her, or that person. And I mean, she's a sensitive soul. Like, I'm not gonna lie and say she's normal, so to speak. But I mean, she's a sensitive kid, and her mom and I are actually looking at virtual school for next year. Because I mean, who knows where we'll be in September, or August, September anyway. Exactly. And I mean, the e-learning is such a clusterfuck as it is that we would rather do the virtual school that has like an established program, established curriculum, stuff like that. So, but I mean, it's still up in the air. Like the application period is right now. So, yeah, I told her we should, just because, Audrey focuses better at home anyway with, her mom or me. Her mom more so because her mom doesn't have the Greek temper. But
you better listen, Malaka.
God, all those memes about homeschooling are 100% me. Like the Tiger King one where it's like 8 a.m. and it's Carol Baskins going hey cool cats and kittens, and then it's like 8:06, it's Joe Exotic saying, "Listen here, motherfucker." Like, so,
funny.
Oh man, but
I still haven't watched that. I need to watch that shit.
Nah, you don't. It's a fucking train wreck that you'll forget soon enough.
Okay.
I haven't seen it either.
I'll save you 8 hours. Like it's good for fucking, it'll it'll make you question, how we've gotten this far as a species. So, do we wanna cover like nerd weeks or adventures in nerding or whatever we call it to avoid legal liability for nerd rage?
Okay. I guess I can start.
Yes, go ahead, Yul. What did you get, see, do, or had experienced?
Okay. So I I I picked up a couple of slabs. Um, One of them being, I don't know if you guys were aware of X-Force back in the day, but sometime around 2002, X-Force took a radically different direction. The slab that I got was X-Force issue 116, which is the first appearance of what they eventually called X-Force into the Ecstatics. It was
that I've never heard of. Yeah.
Yeah, it was what they did was there was this writer artist in Dark Horse named Mike Allred who did Madman. That was his comic book, and so they hired this indie guy to show up and kind of change the flavor up, and it was pretty successful actually. It was one of those out of the box kind of situations that was a runaway success, and one of the characters that came out of there that was pretty popular is this dookie looking mutant called Dupe.
Duke? You're serious?
Dupe.
That's the
Dupe.
name.
Doop.
Oh, Duke. Oh, gotcha.
Dupe.
Okay.
It looks kind of like a tame Slimer kind of character.
Okay, yeah, the Slimer with the lazy eye and
Yeah. So you know who I'm talking about. Yeah. So that was his first appearance. It turns out that at first when I saw this thing, I was like, "What the fuck is this? Why is way back then?" And I didn't even really give it a chance, and it was a big mistake because it turned out to be really popular, and like those issues went and skyrocketed pretty fast. Because Dupe turned out to be actually pretty funny. A lot of people kind of like how people were going Pickled Rick all over the place before I watched Rick and Morty, and I was like, what is this shit? Why are people running around yelling Pickled Rick for?
Yeah. It took me a long time too. It took me a very long time to catch up with Rick and Morty.
Yeah. And so basically, Dupe's first appearance is that one. I'm thinking that at some point, if they ever do another Deadpool sequel, they're probably gonna involve some of those characters, and that entire series was pretty funny in general. Let's see, and I got a couple of pops, the Mandalorian pops. I got the full Beskar armor pop, the Dune Cara Dune one, the Heavy Gunner one, and IG-11. Just because after that very last episode on The Mandalorian, he won me over. So I had to get. Yeah.
You know who did the voice of IG-11, right?
Taika?
Yep.
Yeah.
My boy.
Yeah.
Oh, the robot. Yeah.
Spiros, have you already yet seen What We Do in Shadows yet?
Oh yeah, dude.
The movie.
I am well versed in Taika. Like that guy. Like
he's a genius.
Fucking, I love all his shit.
Yeah. Dude, whatever he makes, I'm with it.
That sandwich joke's still my favorite fucking joke ever.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh man.
And I recorded a couple of episodes in the last 2 weeks with I don't know if it was a recorded episodes or what, but I think they were recording it from the guys that do the the nerds have spoken with Jason Lowry and Mike, New York Mike, and Eric Burgess and Eric Espada and a couple of other heads, man. There's just so many. There's like they're like the Saturday session was very much like joining Wu-Tang Slipknot situation. There are just so many heads in that that chat, and they're all fucking with something, dude. They were doing Legos or Gundam kits or transforming.
Was that the build party that Josh usually shares, or
Yeah,
Rob?
Rob, give me Rob. Rob who again?
Rob M, truck driver. That's like.
He's part of the crew. Yeah, I think he's usually part of that crew sometimes when they do that stuff.
I think isn't he Masterpiece Shitpiece?
Yes, yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob M is actually really cool. That guy's a low distribution trucker. I enjoyed hanging out with him in the con last year, TF Con.
Okay. Yeah, my TF Con got canceled this year.
I know, he was so close to you, man.
I know, dude. Me and Oscar were gonna fucking room together, like.
I miss that guy too. That guy was so fun to be around too.
I was gonna spoon with him whether he wanted to or not.
Wait a minute, did you say whether he wanted to or not?
I was gonna force spoon on him.
I don't think he would have mind. Dude.
Nah, he probably would have reached around and just like hugged me like that behind the back hug.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I almost jumped in on Saturday just because I have a couple Lego sets that I've been meaning to build, and I was like, well, shit, I have something to build, but I elected to keep working because I've been getting a shit ton of Lego orders through my Bricklink store, so good problem to have. But anyways, it's your adventures in nerding, not mine.
Yeah, no, that's all I could think of that off the top of my dome that was worth any of note. These days I've been okay. If there was anything really nerdy that I've done recently was catching up on free YouTube shit, like the Voltron Force show. I love that show. That show is actually pretty dope.
Oh, that's on YouTube?
Yeah, free. And I didn't know that Swiss Beats did the fucking intro. No wonder it was so dope.
Oh yeah. That.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always thought that Voltron, as far as the combined situation, looked a lot better than the one that they did in Netflix.
Oh, Legendary Defender. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, either way, I was entertained by both of those shows. I really loved the soundtrack for the Netflix one. I love it. It's very I grew up listening to New Age my entire young life because my mom and uncles would listen to shit like Enya, Narada, all of that's Susan Chiani, all that shit that really somber, contemplative shit,
Mm-hmm.
That sail away, sail away, sail away. Yeah. I love it. Sometimes it's probably also the reason why I when I was younger I picked up like movie soundtracks like the Braveheart one. I'd listen to the fuck out.
So good.
That was a good soundtrack. Yeah.
Dude,
absolutely.
Jurassic Park, fucking choice.
The first one?
Yeah, fucking the Jurassic Park theme.
Mm-hmm.
The raptor chase.
I love that shit too, man. I listened. And it was it's shit like that made me like do some research. Like I had no idea at the time that the same guy who did the soundtrack for Braveheart did the same soundtrack for Willow and Krull. So I was like, oh, every time I saw James Horner's name, I was like, oh yeah, that's the Braveheart dude. Yes. Yes.
one and the same.
That was about it. I mean, of course, I don't know. My usual. I listen to a bunch of pissed off anti-SJW people on YouTube, but that's about it.
Uh, dude, you got to unplug from that shit, man. That shit will make you want to slit your wrists. Like,
You know it almost did. Fuck, like with a combination of
man.
that, the combination of that and not taking my normal meds got me going. You know what? Fuck everything. I started this shit.
Yeah, man. I was like,
It'll do it to you.
man, you gotta unplug from that hate fucking shit, you know?
It wasn't
Like,
so much.
just-
It wasn't so much the hate as much as I felt like nothing that I liked was ever gonna be good anymore. That's what it was. It wasn't like I didn't even hate on people no more. It was more like, you know, at this rate, everything that I love, I won't love anymore. What's the point of all of this? This is all bad. That's I didn't even care that I didn't even care about all of the other stuff anymore. It's just like the stuff that I like is just not what I like anymore. What do I do?
Yeah,
And then maybe
dude,
I
like that's how I feel about MMC after that fucking
I
post
know.
today.
Oh,
That was
dude.
Oh
awesome.
man,
I like that
Dude,
post. To me.
that was so choice, bro. That was
dude.
so
So okay,
choice.
so to bring our listeners up to speed,
Yes.
MMC shared photos of Tordor, which is their last member of the DJD, Thesaurus, the big wood chipper guy. And someone asked, you know, what's the release date? And MMC is all coy. It's like, depends. And they're like, well, depends on what? And they're like, well, we're hoping to see good pre-order numbers. And I just like, I don't know why that fucking put, you know, a hair up my ass. But like, I was like, man, you motherfuckers have dragged this shit out forever. You don't get to play coy with your fans anymore. Like, depends. Like, just give us a fucking window of, you know, third quarter of whenever we fucking feel like it. So I was like, and I responded straight to him. I tagged him. I was like, what, are you gonna pull some Make Toys shit and fucking not release the last guy because your pre-order numbers were low? I mean, it's the God's honest truth. They've dragged their feet so fucking long that they've delayed themselves out of relevancy, is what I said. Because, you know, the IDW run that the DJD was spawned from ended in November 2018. So that's almost 2 years ago. You know, and like
damn, has it been that long?
It has been that long, and you're expecting your fan base to have hung on for that long for you to finish up this team, like
It's crazy why they even you said it that way, because they're like, well, then why the hell did you guys even finish this project in the first place?
Yeah, like you obviously have a test shot, you know, or, you know, painted sample or whatever. Like, there's got to be tooling involved somewhere. So don't even fucking play coy like you're just gonna shelve the figure and, you know, take the loss on the molds. Like,
they might as well have just said, you know what? Kickstarter. This is a Kickstarter.
Oh God, that.
But they should have done that a long time ago. That's the part that doesn't make any sense. Like, wait, it depends on the pre-order now. What the fuck does that even mean?
No, because I mean, like they canceled the Carnifex reissue because of low pre-order numbers, which I understand. Like, you know, the reissue game, unless you're fan toys, the reissue game is hit or miss.
Yeah.
You know, because like if you reissue Carnifex and then, you know, only a quarter of your orders get filled, then you're left with all this, you know, this overstock of a figure, a big. And I mean, Carnifex was a big, pricey figure. So, I mean, I understand in that point. But I mean, we're talking about the DJD, like one of the fucking things that puts you guys on the map. And you're gonna fucking be all coy and depends on that shit. I don't know. I'm still gonna buy it, but I'm still
No, same
gonna.
here. Same here.
I mean,
Still
I'm.
buy it.
I mean, I love you, but I'm still gonna call you on your bullshit.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. Facts.
I'm still supporting it, but let it be known that I'm not happy with you guys right now.
Yeah. Tell the boss that I'm not happy with some of his choices.
Yeah, Lenny. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pass it up.
exactly.
Pass it up the chain, Des. So, but anywho, so is that's your adventures?
Yeah, I mean that's it. I don't remember. It's been this COVID-19's made it very hard to go toy anything really. So
Have you ordered anything
um,
outside of slabs?
Iceman's coming in the fans toys. One of the I forgot what they call them.
Air raid.
Yeah, Air Raid. Yeah, that's what's coming in.
Nice.
I can't wait to see what that combiner is gonna be like, bro. Like that thing is, it's either gonna be like the best thing since sliced bread, or it's gonna fucking suck. I don't think there's gonna be an in between with that.
I'm gonna tell you guys something. This is gonna sound kind of weird, but I had a very hard time trying to pick which Baby Yoda product that I wanted. That I ended up getting nothing Baby Yoda. Does that make sense? Like they had the animatronic one, the Mattel one, and I was just so overwhelmed that I ended up missing out on any of the May the 4th Baby Yoda stuff. And I love that fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess. Well, I mean, shit. You should, if you, so basically, what you're saying is there are just so many good choices that you didn't know which one to pick.
And the sad part is
Yeah.
I completely missed out on the sales because I was so overwhelmed. And now I don't even want to get it because the idea of getting it for more expensive than what I could have gotten it for really bothers me. I don't know why, but it
Yeah.
just does.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm right there with you, man. Like
Mhm.
I see all these figures that are out of production that I kind of want, but as soon as I see that secondary market price, I'm just like, fuck it, no, I don't need it that badly.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna drop $860 on a set of Seacons like that dude in the cafe.
Yo, that was nuts, bro. I
How
thought that,
much?
I thought
Dude.
people were bullshitting, but it's true.
No,
Like,
he this
yeah.
this guy in the Cybertron cafe posted a screenshot of finished eBay auction for the 6 Takara Tomy Selects Seacons, and his max bid was 1,000, and
Yeah, it's crazy.
he won at $860, and my ass just jumps in right away. I was like, holy fuck, that's $300 more than my 2 sets. Like, I was like, motherfuckers out here like fiending for 1 set, and I was like, I got 2.
Wait, is it the white one?
Mm-hmm.
No, the regular release Seacons.
Yeah, you better sell that shit while you can make all that money then, bro.
I don't know. I mean, I'm waiting. I guess I'll jump into my
There you go.
adventures.
Yes.
Yeah, you might as well. You know.
All right, so Friday when Pulse put up the pre-order for the God Neptune, the white recolor of the Seacons from Beast Wars 2,
Mhm.
they also listed the last 2 Seacons in stock. So I picked up my second set of those 2 to round out my second 6. So those are on their way. They should be here Wednesday, which will be before you guys hear this when we publish it, and through the magic of radio. But no, I don't know. Like initially, I bought my second set of the first 2 to scalp, but then I was like, I kind of love these guys because they were my my third full combiner set that I had as a kid.
Oh wow,
So-
really nice.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, I had Computron, Abominus, and the Seacons.
Damn.
Like those were
Oh, yeah.
mine.
That was it.
I didn't have to share them with my older brother. So, the gaudy end of G1 color palette is my jam. So, so I got that coming. Let me see. Oh, I got a pretty cool Siege Optimus repainted as the white Ultra Magnus that some dude threw up in the cafe. Like he got an extra Siege Optimus and then he just spray painted it white and did the teal face paint and all that. So I got that. So that's for the Magnus collection. Got a couple Lego sets. Some Spider-Man Lego. I've been selling a lot of Lego, like because the quarantine, a lot of people are under. A lot of people are looking for shit to do, and I mean,
Lego
Chris.
Fit that bill. Lego definitely fit that bill.
Chris of Building Up to It, also known as Clutch, also known as Bricks on the Dollar. He had his single best month ever last month. And like the dude gets more orders in a day than I get in a month.
Wow.
Like I love that guy. I'm happy for every success he has. So, I'm huh?
Same here. I like that guy.
Yeah, I like to see all my homies succeed.
Everybody eat. Yeah, exactly.
I'll talk shit. I'll talk shit about Afotey, doing his cinematography instead of putting out Detox. But I love to see it. So, yeah, like I love watching your shit because I took some film school type shit in college as an elective, so I like seeing all that. But
before you continue, remind me to bring up iPhone cinematography again.
Okay. So I've been selling a lot of Lego, like going to the post office pretty much on a daily basis for the past 3 weeks, which is good, and I've been going through both Lego that I've had sitting in my room for like 6-7 months, emptying drawers, filling drawers, rinse and repeat. Watch Gargoyles. I've caught up on Black Mirror because I watched the episode that everybody got uncomfortable.
I fucked a polar bear. I even fucked a polar bear.
I even fucked a polar bear, and all I could think about was you. Which
it's so crazy.
I think that might be my favorite Black Mirror episode, only because of how uncomfortable it makes every timeline. Like,
very, very controversial.
I bet Xbox Live and PlayStation Network was like dead for a week after that episode came out. Like, I'm not fucking gay. I'm not fucking gay. Like,
yeah, that was a weird episode.
No, and it's funny because like Afotey, you have a very varied friends list because a lot of shit is public, and I saw one guy where he's like, why did it have to be 2 black dudes? Like, what the fuck's up with that? I was like, no, they knew exactly what they were doing by saying, like, they were like, who can we trigger the most, like, with homophobia?
Exactly.
It's like let's say 2 black dudes like love each other, and like, dude, people fucking triggered the fuck out over that episode.
They lost it.
Yeah, like
ignorant, bro.
But it's so funny. Like, COVID, has exacerbated this. But like, when people get a light shined on them, they show you who they really are.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I also I watched the one with Miley Cyrus. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like that one. I thought it was pretty funny.
I mean, I thought it was funny. I thought it was like, it was cool. Like, I mean, it was a crazy concept. Like, she's
Yeah,
in a coma, but they're like mining her brain for
right.
songs.
Exactly.
And I mean, mocap and all that shit. That's like everything in Black Mirror is something that could realistically be possible.
Which makes it
Yeah.
so fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it is. It's like it's a modern day Twilight Zone where
Basically, yeah.
it's holding a mirror to the darker side of society and technology.
But why
I
it got to
think
be
you
black
just
though?
figured out. I was just gonna say, I just figured out why it was called Black Mirror, but Yule took it there, so yeah, okay, that too, that too, I guess.
But yeah, and then the one with the San Junipero, where it's the old people living in the VR world.
Yeah, that was a very touching episode. That was like a
Yeah,
really
I mean,
sweet
it was-
episode.
You had a campy episode.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was like a happy one.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
one of the
it-
few happy ones. Yeah.
yeah, it ended on technically a happy note. So, but yeah, just I've been catching up on a lot of shit, like, because even though I'm still working and still I'm essential as fuck, um, like my days off, because I mean my kids aren't here, they're at their mom's. Like my days off have been me having a bachelor fantasy camp, so just staying up till all hours. Like I've on my days off, I live that quarantine cliche of like going to bed at 5 a.m, waking up at like 1 p.m, shit. Like but as soon as I gotta go and work my schedule, I'm right back. 4 days on, 3 days off. But
Right.
speaking of YouTube and my boy Taika, I shared it in the chat today. He is reading Roald Dahl's James and the Giant Peach. And
I saw that. I
he's,
saw that you said something about it, but I didn't actually like see the reading.
yeah, he's reading it, and he has friends dropping in like for each. There's 2 episodes, and they're doing voices, and he's doing sound effects and shit. So like the first episode, it's Chris and Liam Hemsworth, Thor, and his younger brother from the Hunger Games. And they do the voices for Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker, like James's old disgusting aunts. And like, dude, for 2 dudes, especially like Chris Hemsworth, Thor, like manly kind of dude, like he fucking nails like the old English lady. Yeah, it's hilarious. Like, man, I had to pull over because I was like listening. I was listening to it, while I was driving, because with YouTube Premium, not trying to brag, but
You do me, Mr. Fancy Pants, with the YouTube preview.
you can still listen to YouTube when it's minimized. So like I had to pull over like into a gas station at one point because like I was laughing so hard I was gonna lose control of my car. But yeah, and I mean there's a fundraiser component to it. I threw $5 at whatever fundraiser it was because I was entertained. But listen to that. I've been doing deep dives into like Star Wars lore, like Star Wars Legends, if you will. Just because I downloaded Knights of the Old Republic on my Android phone because it was on sale for May the 4th. It was actually $4. So
That's
I mean
grand.
it's a little wonky playing a console game or PC game on your phone.
I was about to ask you how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of like pointing. It runs to wherever you touch. But I mean, I fucking lived and breathed that game for so long. And I was it college? Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic was college.
I love that game.
Yeah, but I mean, just like Darth Revan and just the lore of the Old Republic, like I love that shit, and
Hmm.
I hope that's where the Star Wars universe goes. I know a lot of people, myself included, like I was not 100% satisfied with the sequel trilogy.
Hmm.
I mean, I still love it because it's Star Wars, but I'd rather J.J. Abrams not touch that thing ever again. Um, But, I mean, it's but I'm not gonna get us mired down in a Star Wars discussion because
Right.
that's had ad nauseum. Um, but yeah, I mean, like the Old
There's so
Republic.
many ways. There's so many things they could do with Star Wars, though. It's such a big universe. They can tell so many different stories.
Yeah, I mean, like, and oh god, Clone Wars was so fucking good. The final season, like the last episode, like just there was feels on feels on feels. Like, because Ahsoka, it shows what happened to her, how what happened to her during the events of Order 66. Um,
Mm.
but man, I haven't really read anything. I haven't been taking advantage of that during quarantine. Uh, you know, I guess I'm not as well rounded as I thought. Um, but anywho, I'm trying to think because I was like brainstorming about shit to talk about, like when we were saying we're gonna record tonight. Um, Gargoyles. Yeah,
I have a
no.
I have a very disappointing admission to make.
Hey,
Um,
we're family, buddy. Bring it.
I think what I learned about myself in quarantine is that I think I would have been one of those motherfuckers that believed the Earth was flat for a minute with all the shit, the crazy shit that was being put out in the ether. A lot of these conspiracy things that are being put out, I entertained them way too much and started to look too deeply into them. Kind of like
I
when,
mean,
yeah,
like I mean, I, I always try to look for a tiny bit of validity in every conspiracy theory, only because I don't want to completely shut myself off from the possibility,
same with me.
of just because as good as the world can be and as good as people can be, I also know that there's the exact opposite spectrum of
Right.
how shitty humanity can be and how shitty the world can be. So, but I mean, it's like this: if the New World Order was gonna depopulate the Earth with a virus, I think they would have made one that has a higher mortality rate than 1%. So,
Oh, that was what I was saying before, and then I had to take it back.
Because
I
I
mean,
mean, well,
like, don't get me wrong. I like if you've lost somebody from COVID, or I know. I mean, I there's a couple of people in our circle of friends that have had it and recovered from it. So I mean, like I don't mean to disrespect anyone's loss or tragedy, but that's just how I deal with shit. I make jokes and I'm flippant because that's my coping mechanism. It always has been. I'm the guy who's going to tell a joke at a funeral. Um,
you know what?
so
Normally I wouldn't entertain these things, and but you I'm gonna ask for a disclaimer here.
okay.
Can you blame me with all the crazy things that happened in the last fucking four
Nope.
years administration? Do you
To
know what
be
I mean?
honest with you, I would have normally been like, nah, no way. But with
Yeah.
the guy that's in the White House now and the administration that's in place now, like,
Nothing surprises me anymore.
yeah,
You know what I
man.
mean?
Hey
Like I
man,
don't know what to fucking believe anymore these
hey
days. You know,
they
it's whatever.
they told us aliens are real, and everyone's like, okay, yeah.
I know.
Hmm.
Like yeah, they had like what? A couple weeks ago or last week, we saw the footage of like UFO shit, and ain't nobody
Yeah,
give a shit.
it was like, yeah, okay. Hmm.
Okay.
Everybody's like, listen, once this shit's all done, then we'll worry about the aliens unless they show up in July. But like,
The economy
right
right now, fuckers. The economy.
Right now we got more real shit to deal with than aliens.
That's right. Like our comic book shops is going down, and our restaurants are going down. I need to get my hair did.
My freedoms. My freedoms.
Dude. Oh, the Karens and Kyles just
They're out, bro.
And I mean, especially in Florida, because we partially opened up, back on the 5th or May 6th, 7th or whatever. Like I was doing some Uber Eats, DoorDash type shit on Mother's Day, just because we did a Zoom meeting for Mother's Day for my mom. That was really cool. But
yeah,
I was
did the same thing.
I was at Outback picking up some food, and they were behind because it's Mother's Day. Like any Mother's Day, any restaurant's gonna be swamped, gonna be behind.
Regardless, right?
Regardless, yeah. But I mean, like, and then they're supposed to be at 25% capacity. I can tell you by looking at the Outback parking lot, they definitely were over 25% capacity. Because that fucker was packed full, and it wasn't just people waiting for takeout. So like, but then like the takeout is an hour behind, and they're prioritizing Uber Eats and DoorDash because there's a time metric to that, which I don't know how it affects the restaurants, but for the people delivering, like you are rated on how many on-time deliveries you make for DoorDash. And that factors, you could be deplatformed because you're not delivering your shit on time. Right. But I mean, the Kyles and Karens were like, well, you should focus on the people that are here and blah, blah, blah. And like, there's so many people that were like, well, I need it in writing that you're going to refund me. And I was like, motherfucker, just shut the fuck up, get out of here. And if they still charge you, do like all us nerds do on fucking eBay or, any site that we order off of, and just take it up with your credit card company, because your credit card will fucking reverse the charges 99% of the time.
Yeah.
So don't sit here and fucking be a bitch and, demand the poor girl who is swamped and she's just the messenger. Demand that she like put it in writing that she's gonna refund you your fucking thing. And like I had another thought, and I'll shut up after this. I was like, I just thought, like, I was like, imagine that you can go anywhere for Mother's Day and you choose Chili's or Applebee's.
Something's wrong with you.
Like, that's your creme de la creme is fucking Applebee's.
What you place the du jour option. It's sick, bro. Like people were fighting at the Red Lobster near me. Like,
oh no shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm in this group. It's basically like, because I live in Piscataway, and there's like a group for the town. Basically, it's an unofficial kind of like Facebook group for it. And
not like a yard sale or whatever, but like just Piscataway residents.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there are some of the town politicians that are in there, but
oh no shit.
Yeah. But for the most part, it's just like just people from the town. And dude, it was nuts, man. People were posting videos and like, yo, look at this shit. Da, da, da. People were fighting, like, and I'm just like, man, like we're doomed, bro. If there's ever like a real like serious, I mean, not that coronavirus isn't serious, but like if you know what I mean, like if there's like ever some sort of
when things get more serious,
like
a real
food shortage, fuel shortage,
Yeah, bro, it's insane. Oh, remember there was the fuel shortage some time ago. Remember that? It was like a few years back.
Because of the hurricane?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, people were fighting then too.
I don't know. I think I posted this to the chat that I went to get Chinese food because my mom asked for it for Mother's Day.
Oh yeah.
The line to get the food was out of control too, where I went. And dude, just listening to people talk in the line, I was so very disappointed.
Oh yeah, me too. Like
Yeah.
anywhere I go and I listen to, you know, 'cause I have the ability to hear every conversation around me, like regardless of whether I want to or not.
It's
And
a power, a passive
it's
viewing
it's
power.
it's a power and a curse.
Mhm.
But yeah, just people are trash. Like
Mhm.
my buddy has a podcast here in Tampa, and the podcast is called "People Are Garbage."
Oh,
And
nice.
like you'll see me share stuff from there every once in a while. But like, dude, it's true. Like, I mean, I love my friends and my family, but like the general population just does not
Trash.
inspire me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Human
like
beings
people in
are-
the lines I was listening, all being super passive aggressive, saying all sorts, just fuck this, fuck that, fuck. Like, dude, we're all here together. Just calm
Yeah.
down. We're all in line. Just, you know.
Yeah, like
Like-
listen, you're no more important than I am. Okay? Like
Mhm.
we're all worm food in the end.
At that, you're right.
So,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Just be a decent fucking person while you're here.
Once it's
But-
all
He
said and
goes-
done, yeah, we're all worm
He's-
food. That's true.
You said all sorts of shit like all I wanted is one fucking thing, and this one fucking thing is gonna be so gosh damn. I get it. Whatever.
I wanted
man.
zombies, damn it.
Well, we almost got aliens, so zombies are next, bro. Zombies are next.
I just want shufflers, man. I don't want fucking World War Z insect zombies.
Romero zombies would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
World War Z zombies and everybody's fucking toast. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, like dude, if they're runners, I'm fucking done. Like
Yeah, there was a movie that came out that was like a zombie threat movie, but it wasn't zombies. It was
28 days.
no
20 days.
no. It was like balls of light.
Oh, I remember what you're talking about. It was like based in Russia or something like this.
Yeah, I forgot what it was called. Like, but these things, yeah, these lights came down out of nowhere randomly, and they just fucking people up everywhere they go.
It was it was based in like Western Europe or something like this. I remember what you're talking about. It was actually a pretty decent movie. It wasn't too bad. Like they operated on movement. I think
Yeah,
it was something like that. Like that's what like you had to stay completely still.
and if you
So-
moved, you get zapped, and
And it's a wrap. Yeah.
yeah, it's a wrap.
So the opposite of A Quiet Place.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Yeah.
I love the memes of, when y'all were watching Bird Box and wondering why the fuck people were going outside still, and yet here we are.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I had my first instance where I had to tell somebody to back the fuck up.
Oh,
Like-
just only recently, like that
Yeah,
has-
well, I mean, I've generally been avoiding stores, and
so that's why.
and if I do go to a store, I'm playing Metal Gear Solid, like trying to avoid.
Straight up, yeah. Word up.
but,
Hell yeah.
I think I said that on the last episode, so I apologize to our listeners if I'm repeating myself. I'm old. But no, I was in line. I was in line to return something at Target, and they got the handy dots on the floor to let you know where to stand. And like a good programmed worker ant, I stood on my dot. So this lady comes in with her fucking brood, and like they're not wearing masks.
That's crazy.
And
Is that nuts? Like these people, man. You're not
They're
wearing
not wearing-
masks.
They're not wearing masks, and like her fucking kid's like breathing on my ass practically. Like, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna take a step forward, and then I won't say anything unless they're right on my ass. So next guy goes up to the register. I take my step forward to the next spot, and like this lady and her fucking kids are right on me, And I just turned around and I said, "Can you stand over there?" And I pointed to the fucking spot that I had been on previously. And she's just like, sorry. I was like, well, fuck you, okay? Like,
Yeah,
I was,
6 feet, bitch. Like, come
it's
on.
like, I was an asshole to strangers before the pandemic. I'm gonna be an asshole to strangers during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay, like, so,
For real. Come on.
like, stay the fuck away from me. I have a 71 and 81-year-old, mother and father. So, like, and I've got kids with this new shit that's coming out with the fucking, the chest issues and the fucking cardiac arrest for children.
Yeah,
which,
you saw that too. Yeah.
Oh God, fucking, like, this shit just keeps changing. Like, it's and anyways, but yeah, so I had to tell a bitch to step off, because I'm hood. That's my adventures. Af, what'd you get up to?
What did I get up to? Not much, really, to be honest with you. I got
All right, good night, folks.
Yeah, good night. This has been your episode of Toy Detox. What was that? I just bought a lot of camera equipment. Actually, not even a lot. I just I got 2 new lenses, and one of them is an
or your actual camera, right?
Yeah, for my actual camera. And one of them is an anamorphic lens, which I've been wanting for a long, long time. I've been wanting an anamorphic lens for forever, and I finally got one, so I'm pretty happy about that. It's only a 1.33 times squeeze factor, which basically means that it just stretches the image 1.33 times instead of 2 times. Like, for instance, like The Mandalorian, right? Like, that's filmed with an anamorphic lens. And that lens is a 2-time stretch. So, you get a really pronounced look for that. So the one that I have isn't anywhere near as pronounced, but you can still tell. Like, I was working on some footage that I shot before we started this call. I'll probably finish it tomorrow at some point. I'll throw that up. But it's really nice. This is by far the nicest lens I have. So, and I'm really excited about working on an official project with it. You know what I'm saying? But right now, ain't none of that happening. So nobody's filming shit. Not right now, anyway. So there was that, and then I got this one really sweet vintage lens. I ordered it. Actually, I had ordered it a long time ago, in February, and it just got here because of shipping delays. It came from Ukraine, and
is that the Carl Zeiss that you ordered?
Yeah, the Zeiss lens. Yeah.
Nice. God.
Yeah.
Super jelly, bro. Super jelly.
It's nice. It's a really sweet lens, bro. Like, it's really very cinematic, and but the thing is, it took forever to get here, man. The coronavirus. But anyway, it's finally here, so I've been playing around with that. What else did I get? I got a couple of monitor mounts for my monitors, and that's it pretty much. Nothing really too crazy or hectic or anything like that. You know what I mean? Just stuff like that. And then in terms of toys, what I got.
Oh, really quick, let me.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna let you finish. I got Siege, Rat Bat, and Rumble from China from eBay, which it was a dice roll on that, but I got it. So if anybody is still looking for those two, and you want a reliable eBay seller, feel free to PM me or post on the Toy Detox page, and I'll let you know where to go.
Cool.
Because they showed up once in retail and they were gone. So
yeah, those are very hard to find.
It's one of those end of the line, figure packs that you blink and you miss it. So
that's it. Yeah.
All right. Proceed.
If you don't get it, you ain't getting it. Basically. Yeah, that was it pretty much. In terms of toys, I pre-ordered Fans Toys, Thomas, their Astro Train. So I got that. Hopefully coming. I guess it's supposed to come out in July or something like that. So I'm excited about that. That will be my very first Fans Toys anything. So I'm happy about that.
Fan Toys cherry popped right there.
Basically, I can be down with the cool kids now. So, but yeah, man. So that was it pretty much. Been playing a lot of Darkstalkers because it was free on Xbox. And I actually never played Darkstalkers 3. I played 1 and 2. Played the shit out of them actually, but I never played 3. And 3 is pretty cool. I'm playing as Fury.
It's the chick one, right?
Yeah, the chick one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't gotten the current generation, so I'm unfortunately not up on all the games, which I should rectify that, being that I'm working during the pandemic. So maybe the next Trump check.
The next Trump check.
I don't think we're gonna get one, but hopefully we do. So.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna get one.
Dude.
But yeah, that's it. My adventures in nerding was fairly tame, to be honest with you.
Now that you bring it up, man, I mean, because I thought of you while I was watching through YouTube Premium. All these these independent short horror fucking films that were.
Yo, that Sky thing that you sent was pretty fucking weird.
Yeah, I figured that you'd get a kick out of it because I'm thinking to myself, this is the kind of project that I think Af would like to see on cinema, just on cinematography, if anything.
It was good. Yeah, the cinematography was really good on that. Yeah.
Like it said cosmic horror, and of course, when you say something like that, I'm in. I'm in. It's kind of funny. When I'm a kid, I started off obviously with the traditional occult shit with pentagrams and witches and fucking vampires, werewolves and shit. Then eventually, when you grow up, you find the one dude that talks about Cthulhu and shit. And you're like, what's that? Oh, the ancient gods and shit. And you're just like, oh man, you know what I mean? That's some cool shit. You graduate into that kind of world. You know what I mean? So,
exactly.
Dude, local shop that I follow on Facebook that I've sold a bunch of shit to over the years. They posted a stack of GameCube games that was going out that day, and right at the top was Eternal Darkness, and I was like,
I remember that.
I was like,
you're gonna so good.
I was like, you're gonna make me buy a GameCube just to get that fucking game, because like I played the shit out of that game. Because I mean, it deals with the Elder Gods, and there's 3 different paths that you can take. So you get like, I think there was like 9 or 11 endings or something.
Yeah, it was quite different ending.
But God, I love that game. Just all the shit that it did to fuck with you.
Yeah, that was dope. That was a dope game.
Man,
Spiros, I was gonna say the movie was called Darkest Hour. So if you haven't seen it, I recommend that you watch it, because conceptually, I thought it was a pretty fucking crazy cool concept. But I don't know if execution was up to par, because it got like a bunch of Rotten Tomatoes, like 12%. But personally, I mean, I thought for whatever reason, just the idea, the way it was presented, kind of fucked with me, because I started to think about what would it be like if these lights came out of fucking nowhere and just started zapping the fuck out of people, man.
Oh yeah, dude. That's me all the time with every like movie, even if it's terrible. The concept will like get in my brain, and then I was like, oh god, I can't go to sleep now. So
I love it. I love all those concept fucking things, even though they weren't that good, for the regular people. Like, for example, Demon Knight. Oh man, I fucking love
Demon Knight. Oh, Demon Knight. Oh, you went there with it, yo.
Yeah, man. Because like, I was one of those kids that like what if that shit was true? What if there's some dude out there that can't tell the rest of the world because ain't nobody gonna fucking believe him that he's saved, he's protecting the world from fucking demons by making sure that they don't capture the last fucking key to unleash, eternal darkness throughout the entire universe and shit.
That was like what's the name? Jupiter Ascending, in the sense that remember the scene in the beginning when they had that big fight, and I forget his name, but the main character, he was like, oh, no one will ever know, our technology kind of covers up what we just did, and and anybody who says that they saw this, they'll think they're crazy or something like that. And it just kind of reminds me of that when you say that.
Yeah. I mean, believe it or not, I actually like Jupiter Ascending. I mean,
I did too. I did too. I liked it. I actually loved it, to be honest with you. Outside of the corny, romance part.
No, agreed. Like,
yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
The colors were great. The cinematography was great. Oh man, even the costumes and shit were great. Space fucking dragon people. You can't fucking beat that. That shit's fucking dope.
I was a big fan of the lore, to be honest with you, because I was like, damn, yo, like it really intrigued me, because it was like I'm very much into, far-flung future stuff, like thousands and thousands of years in the future, and it just struck me as like, very interesting to imagine, that humans on planet Earth actually weren't the original humans, and there was actually like a race of humans that, from far, far, away in a galaxy far, far away or whatever, that were really, truly the originators of, humanity. And
dude, that's why Prometheus fucked me up when I watched that movie, dude. Not too many people cared about that film, but I thought that film, conceptually or story-wise, was fucking brilliant, dude.
Yeah, I thought so too.
The idea that we were created by the body of that engineer. You know what I mean?
By mistake.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
Yeah, dude, I love Prometheus, and I mean the conceptually, but and then if you read into it, like there was actually I don't know if it was a deleted scene or if it was just a concept from the like early script draft, but they were going to explain that Jesus was an engineer.
Yes.
Sent to get the experiment back on track, and that's why he was like, trying to preach, be good to each other, don't be a piece of shit. And we fucking murdered, the savior of the experiment. But it also would explain white Jesus too.
No, agreed. And you're right. That is true. That was supposed to be. They were trying to discuss that. That's why the engineers were trying to wipe us out, because after we killed the emissary that was keeping the experiment on track, they're like, these people are ruled by violence, so we can't trust them to. We can't let this mistake spread throughout the universe.
The universe. That's interesting. I never even thought about that. That's a very, very interesting concept.
Dude, that's why exactly that movie fucked me up, man. And even the sequel fucked me up. Like, okay, so here's the thing. I know a lot of people were really trying to expect like an aliens related something, but to be honest, man, after watching Prometheus, I just threw away the entire alien portion out. Like, I was more interested in all the engineer shit than I was about the alien shit at that point. But dude, like, what was it called again? Alien Covenant, right?
Covenant,
The best part of the entire movie for me, well, there was two really good parts, was the very beginning and the part where fucking the android killed all the gosh damn engineers. That was fucking that was it.
Oh, yeah.
That was
the beginning part, it fucked me up because you could tell that AI was a more serious threat than any of the things that we were worried about in space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the low, right? Yeah,
When
exactly.
his creation, David fucking
David, yeah.
Well, I
crazy.
mean, that plays into the theme that you always create, your worst enemy, or there's also the idea that children are always supposed to supplant their parents and be better and replace them. Um, but yeah, I do this thing where if anything comes into my line of sight, like nerd wise, I just do a deep dive into it for like 2-3 weeks, and then I move on to the next shit. So like after Covenant came out, like I just was watching YouTube videos like on the shared universe between aliens, predators,
Sure. Yeah,
shit like
same here, man. I do
um,
that.
but
Yeah, I
like
kind of did that too. Yeah.
but like it was like the planet that David went to, and he wiped out the populace there that the Covenant takes place on. Like
Mhm.
they weren't engineers; they were another experiment race.
Mhm.
Like they were just closer to the engineers, because they had
Interesting.
like they had like the pale skin, the big brows and the big noses.
Mhm.
Um, but like yeah, so and I kind of, if there's anything that's ever going to prove that like God, quote unquote, is real, is like it's going to be aliens. Like they fucking they were the source of everything, But
Dude, just listening to the way David talked about us really fucked me up too. Like, wasn't he said that humans are trying to um are trying to extend and ascend to their life or whatever, just but they're undeserving of it. I was
yeah,
like,
Mhm.
when your creation thinks that of you, or your superior, whatever it is that you think that your superior creation thinks of that of you. Oh man, it just
That's when
that
you're
shit really
fucked.
fucked me
Yeah.
up.
You're in trouble then.
Yeah, really, yeah, dude. Really, Scott did it for me, and I know a lot of people didn't care because they're just like, dude, that shit was weak. Not enough
Yeah.
alien, dude.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was people were expecting something different. And to be honest with you, the execution in that movie was a little lacking, but
Oh
the
no, dude.
story, the just the concept of it. I mean, I think we're all in agreement that it's just very compelling and interesting. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right though, Spiros. When you were talking about like when I went on a deep dive in it, of that too, like I didn't realize that the engineers worshipped that place where that took place in Prometheus. I didn't
Mhm.
realize that was a temple of some sort that they were trying to replicate um, some kind of really deep thing that had to do with a cycle of what brought like they were like the engineers were a race of people that were just so advanced that they forgot how to reproduce like regular
Hmm.
other things and
Oh,
and
okay.
and I think that they were trying to learn how to read to either ascend or or or, or replicate again or something. One of those two things, which is what led to all of this,
Mhm.
to what happened. I gotta watch that deep dive again. That some of that shit was just so conceptually deep that it fucked with me so much, and I loved it. Like I loved how I how I went to sleep trying to or tried to go to sleep trying to figure out shit that don't matter in real life. But
Right.
Sure,
Yeah,
yeah, and
I know.
that's a hallmark. That's the hallmark of a good movie, man. Like, or a good, piece of fiction. Like, if it makes you think long after you finish watching it. You know what I'm saying? That's that's good writing. That's good damn, uh,
sometimes, do you find yourself watching things and liking things based on just audacity?
somewhat. Shit, a Serbian film was like that for me. You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
Like the audacity of that fucking movie. Like, whoa.
That's what Star. That's what Starship Troopers Part Two was for me.
Oh yeah, that too, that too.
Like, how dare they?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's so bad it caused Yule to fall in love with it.
Yes, I was like,
such a terrible movie, but it was like bad, like good bad, like Plan 9 from Outer Space bad.
I mean, for me, some of this stuff was pretty dope. Like, for example, when they went to that tower to protect themselves, right? And they had that one sequence where they had the bombs like turn around and destroy all the bugs around them for in some kind of radius. You know what it reminded me? It reminded me of a big budget like 80s cartoon situation that we would have seen when we were kids. That's why I think I liked it so much. Because like,
Oh, I see what you mean.
definitely happened in the fucking toy thing that we saw as kids, and I was like, I gotta respect that. Like if it was Power Lords or something, or Captain Power and shit,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of juvenile shit. I don't know. I think that's why it sung to me so much.
Yeah, it was a fun watch. That much I will say. It was definitely fun to watch, if nothing else.
The only reason I like part 3 was the sound was the singing.
I've never seen part 3, so you know.
Dude, the fucking anthem in that movie is just is good for one watch. You have to watch it just on that alone.
Yeah.
Wait, they made a third one?
Yeah, remember it's a good day to die when you know.
I don't remember that.
Oh my gosh, you guys have to watch it just on that fucking G.I. Joe song that they did on that movie, dude. Part 3 was dope because it wasn't for me. It wasn't as good as part 2, but part 3 did reintroduce Johnny Rico again. So it had Casper Van Dien in it again. So.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I don't even know why I like that shit because I know I've read the book and the book is a gosh damn masterpiece, dude. A fucking military science fiction masterpiece of perfect proportion. I don't say epic, but perfect proportion. Plus, the main character was Filipino, so.
That's always
Got
nice.
Gotta follow your people.
I was like, dude, Heinlein, how'd you know to choose us?
They're the craziest motherfuckers I ever met.
He was the
Yeah, I mean,
food
because he was his name? Rico, right? The original guy?
Yep.
Johnny Rico.
Johnny Rico.
They brought it up at the end of the book. He goes, in my homeland in the Philippines. I was like, wait, hang on.
What?
What? I thought he was white the whole time, or at least Latin because he said he was from Buenos Aires. It turns out I forget that in the future things are different. People are obviously displaced everywhere.
Everywhere,
So.
Yeah, I gotta watch Starship Troopers again, man. You're gonna make me watch the first one all over again. I love that. Wouldn't you like to know?
More?
Would you like to know more?
Nope.
Would you like to know more? Exactly.
All right, boys. Are we gonna call it a night? It's 1:15 midnight.
It's pretty late. We can take it down. I have quite a bit of good, stuff that we discussed anyway. So
I'm just glad to listen to you guys again, man. It sucks because obviously, other than work, you guys are the only people.
Well, shit. Honestly, besides my kids and my wife,
I don't even have that. That's probably why I got all sad too. I was like, "Fuck, dude. I don't got kids. I don't got a legacy. Just sucks. We need to start building one now."
Thank you, every one of you that tuned in to listen to us. We are part of the Cool Table Network, a collection of like-minded podcasts featuring Enter the Realm, Breaking the Mold, Building Up to It, Fresh Communication, Nerd Rage Radio, Stasis Lock, Sharecast Uncut, Figure Bangin'. I know I'm missing some, but I miss everyone at one point or another. And shout out to Cool Table adjacent podcasts like The Nerds Have Spoken. If you are interested in more antics like ours, please be sure to check out any of those podcasts I just listed. They are not always family friendly, but they are part of a friendly family. As Paul Chu says every time on building up to it. So,
That's good.
yeah, shout out to those guys.
My fellow yellow.
I've been guesting on building up to it recently, and having a good time with those crazy guys. But anyways,
Word.
this is
Oh,
the rhythm of the
super
night.
duper. I forgot. Totally forgot. I wanted to give a shout out to Dust Mites and Nate.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that's
dude,
right.
How did that not come up in your nerd adventure or your
I totally
adventures?
forgot.
Next episode, we'll put a deeper dive into that one, man.
Yeah.
I listened to that shit, man. Like you fucking tore it up.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I was just really like I've been wanting to work with Dust and Nate for literal years now. You know what I mean? Like it's been a long time because I've been a fan of them for a long time. I mean, shit, they're on their 10th album, right? So,
Damn, I didn't know they were that prolific.
dude, Nate puts out an album every year, damn near. Well, I mean, on average, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, there's been a couple of years where he hasn't put out an album and then he puts out two, but basically he's been doing it for 10 years and now this is his 10th album. So,
shout out to Nate.
Yeah, shout out to Nate, man. Nate Haskell killing it on the mic and Dust Mite's killing it on the beats. And Dust dropped the beat in Realm of Collectors, the Facebook group. And I was like, bro, this is dumb. I need this. And he was like, all right, jump on it. And then he sent the email to me and Nate. And I just like literally like the next week, I was like, I'm going to the studio. I was like, this shit is fire. So I had to, go lace that. But yeah, we'll talk about that on the next episode. But yeah,
right.
Shout out to those guys. I definitely wanted to shout those guys out and I was literally quite honored that they would allow me to be on such a dope album. Like the whole album is dope. So there's that. But yeah, that's it pretty much.
All right.
So yeah, peace, fellas. We'll do this
All
again.
of us. All of you.
No. All right, bro.